Oh, yeah? That's what you think.
And we're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling already. Hello, check. Check one, check two. I don't know if it's better to put this on my shirt or on my... Can't think of my shirt.
Let's clip it right
I
to your
drive
beard.
without hands.
Clip it right to your beard.
A little intro to the episode.
On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again.
Please cut that, please. Okay. Mark and I are currently heading back home after a wonderful meeting of the Maryland Association of Christian Schools, and we thought you would like our reactions to it. Welcome to the Christian Principles Podcast. I'm Matt George.
I'm Mark Zockel, and we are on the road again, as you heard moments ago.
Oh, no.
We'll have to keep it in.
Left that in.
We'll have to keep it in there. Our editor should know better, but I'm sure he won't. So, now we're excited to have a quick reaction to the Maryland Association of Christian Schools. I guess this is their spring meeting.
Spring meeting.
So spring board meeting, and then this spring pastors and administrators meeting.
I like how you said spring board meeting.
Spring board meetings.
Springboard
Into the summer.
I need to get in the right lane here.
I tell you what, it is a speaking to one of the delegates, one of the members, one of the attendees. She mentioned how there was a value simply in the hour and a half drive to the site and the hour and a half drive back, and that the three administrators present in that vehicle stated the same exact thing, that they need to do that consistently, and better yet, like leave their phones at home when they do it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that's the only time those three actually talk to each other. You guys know who you are. You know I don't believe that, but I thought I had to be said.
But I remember, but even we talked about this on the administrators retreat as well. We talked about how there was value in the drive. And when you have the administrative team together, so much get done or has the opportunity to get done, or you're building relationships. And it's the same, just like when you were in high school playing basketball and you were driving to and from, or debate, whatever you were on, cheerleaders, debate team.
Oh, yeah.
Underwater basket weaver.
No.
I forget what you guys,
Yeah,
I forget what you did. 4-H. That's right.
Oh, that was an hour drive.
Right.
That was with siblings, so that
doesn't count. But generally speaking, even that time is useful, let alone the time you're actually at where you are. And hopefully, as B-Dub, as he did a good job setting up what we did, as he did a good job of setting up today's meeting, that was valuable too. But first of all, there's value in
Case in point, here we are recording now 2 episodes. Otherwise, we would still be trying to get recorded. So there's value.
My wife is that much more happy with me that I'm not.
We're using our time wisely. Even if we weren't recording, like a lot of what we're going to be talking about in this episode, like we'd be talking about this anyway. So we're just recording it for your.
But you need to hear us react to things.
Right along with us.
Right along with us as we dive into the minds of Mark and Matt coming back from the MACS administrators. Now I attend these meetings because technically I am the Maryland Association of Christian Schools digital coordinator.
Oh.
So I have an ancillary position as I guess it's a contractor. I'm definitely not making bank off of it, I'll tell you that. And you know that because
I did see you take one picture, so well done.
Yes. Actually, I had Shane Burge take a picture for me too, because I couldn't get to the back because you were in the way. But otherwise, so I'm the digital coordinator. So I come to these meetings as well. Also, they would not have as much fun without me at the lunch. For sure.
I mean, that's clear.
As you stuff your face with fish and chips.
I just go right at it. No, my problem is I always listen to like 3 conversations going on at the same time.
True.
And it's so
you gotta tell somebody no. That's dangerous. You should not drive in the right lane that fast.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That lane's ending. Oh, yikes. We're not even over the bridge yet. That's scary. All right, so the meeting itself, it begins with the MACS board.
Executive board meeting.
Executive board. I'm not allowed in that one.
No.
I used to be on that board.
It's closed door to you.
I was on that board until I wasn't.
Oh, now and I am.
Yeah, now Matt is.
Yeah.
And they have not. They haven't asked me back.
What a pleasant experience it is.
What a beautiful.
Although we do talk about you an awful lot in our executive board meeting. I will say that. You get talked about.
That's a beautiful thing. That means the board meeting is working very well.
Okay.
So on the board meeting, Matt, without going into it, what
No,
is
it's
the business of
highly classified. I can't really disclose any of that information.
Nobody can know what happens.
However, I will say that with the executive board meeting, it is kind of interesting because as we transition over to the general board meeting, which we'll talk about in a second, like much of that is just echoed. There's not a lot that we don't discuss in the executive board that we do in the general.
Sure.
But one of the things I definitely value is, we are able to discuss what is the value of a state association.
Yes.
And are we? One of the things even discussed today, I'll say, I think I'm okay to share this. Like, are we just maintaining? Because this wasn't actually referring to us, but
yes,
are we just maintaining something that everybody just expects to exist, or are we offering something that is valuable that without us the schools would
be vacuum
would recognize, like, oh, this is not as nice.
Absolutely.
I don't like going through the school year without that.
Like that you guys talked about that, because that's mission review. We've talked about on the show before how if you're not reviewing your foundational documents, especially your mission, and affirming it over and over, and that's part of the affirmation process, is making sure, what is she doing to her hair? I don't know.
As with any organization, you do have your regular business that you deal with.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that, we're not, going under.
And there's money involved. There's significant money.
There's a lot of stewardship because, you are, again, not, it's kind of weird because you're not necessarily an entity in and of yourself, because you're comprised of the various schools that are entrusting you to,
to take their money first of all.
Take their money, but then to use that for their benefit.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of things to consider and think about. Of course, you have the typical just state competitions, products, that are kind of the easy things to just focus all the time on. But, there's other opportunities too. We've talked a lot on the podcast about, the going to Annapolis or going to DC. That's also politics tends to take a lot of our attention.
Listen, if I was a principal and I was saying, man, I hope someone has talked to so-and-so in Annapolis, or if I hear some issue in Annapolis, I definitely, which is, by the way, for those of you who don't know, that's the capital of Maryland.
It's the capital, not Baltimore. Some might. Yeah.
Baltimore is its own city. It's its own everything.
Hopefully someday soon it'll be its own country. Like we really don't need it.
Disattach the Eastern Shore from the rest.
I mean, let's just take over Delaware, because it's just, Delaware
doesn't want to be.
It's not that important.
Yeah.
And the Virginia part of it,
Or we could just take from Sussex to, like, I don't know, down to Worcester, Somerset, and take up the Virginia side. Virginia probably doesn't want the Eastern Shore anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like, well, I don't even know if Virginia remembers they have land.
What? Canada. We're the 51st state.
There you go.
We haven't lose anybody. You keep all the rest of the states, you add one.
I mean, that'd be a great state name too, Eastern Shore. Like, I love that.
And I am sure the Eastern Shore. I'm sure that most of the politicians of one side of the Maryland political spectrum would wish that the other side would drop off.
Man.
So it makes sense for both sides, but then you could each have your own state represented, because basically one's red and one's blue.
This podcast episode has taken a drastic turn because I believe we have just begun a movement, a revolution, as it were. And I'm already seeing the flag where, a field of white, not the stinking Delaware blue.
Field of the Delaware flag is disgusting.
With a blue crab right in the middle of it, with the old Maryland flag, kind of draping over. But transparent, because that, let's be honest, Maryland's the only important part of the Eastern Shore. So,
well, the Eastern Shore is the only important part of it, but also the Maryland flag, nobody's giving that up.
You can't quite just throw that off. So that's got to come along with
Yeah.
And Virginia's and Delaware's flags, we can forget those. But yeah,
Virginia's flag,
that'd be sick.
as we talked about recently, Virginia's flag is actually highly inappropriate. So
Yeah,
you have to get that figured out.
yeah. So as far as state flags goes, Maryland's the only one worth keeping. So,
Yes.
so yeah, I'm seeing this, and you know what? We've said this a lot. If somebody out there wants to take our idea and run with it,
Yeah,
go for it. Let's go.
yeah.
Get to DC,
If you don't
petition.
get jailed, that's
We'll even name Andy Harris as our first guy.
there we go. Andy Harris. See, again, I bet most of Maryland would want to get rid of Andy Harris.
There you go. We'll take him.
So we'll keep him, and then you can have yours, and we'll have him. We'll see who succeeds. Like it shouldn't be that hard. All right, but I do appreciate how if I'm sitting in an administrative seat, I have the thought like I'm doing so many things. I'm not really thinking about House Bill 192 that's going through. I hope somebody says something, or I hope that there's some body of persons who does have at least an eye pointed that way.
Correct.
To think about it. And so I'm thankful that board is there thinking about who we have an eye on at least some of the legislation that's coming through in the state house to see what may or may not pertain to us. So that's useful. And I know we are not blessed as perhaps the Old Dominion Association of Christian Schools or other Christian school associations that are statewide large enough to have a fully funded full-time that's repetitive, but a full-time officer who is able to go to the state house. Dan Zachariah is able to go to the state house and petition very specifically for the Virginia church schools and whatnot. So we would love to get there sometime, but for now we're blessed with what is happening, and it seems like MACS is in a good place.
MACS is in a really great place. I'm excited about, especially from this meeting. I mean, I'm going home excited because of some changes, but I think just additions that are going to make it far more obvious of MACS involvement in helping our schools, band together and really show the value of Christian education. Period. But
no, I love the drive I got from, again. So Matt's sitting in the board meeting. I'm not allowed in the room. I have to stay away.
In fact, there's part of me during that meeting where I'm like, Mark's too close. We got to send him to. We gotta get him further.
Because I am just like in the foyer outside. Because they're sitting in a church auditorium. I'm just outside the foyer, and I am annoying whoever I'm sitting next to for an hour and a half because I should be doing my work. I don't want to do my work.
Right.
I'd much rather be talking to whoever's there because. So I was talking to Lori Copeland. Lori, she's coming on the podcast talking about homeschooling, by the way.
That's right.
She has the exact opposite opinion of everything that I said. So that will be awesome to hear. So I felt bad. Not really. Lori's great. I stand on what I said. Homeschoolers are slippery.
But hey, we need to present all the point of view.
Different point of view. So that'll be exciting. So I spend my time out there just hobnobbing and annoying people and having conversations that are awesome. Steve from Rosedale showed up.
Yep.
And then a gentleman from a mental health nonprofit
program
that we're going to be actually interviewing soon.
Yes.
Mr. Lepke. Dr. Lepke. Mr. Lepke, I believe. Pastor, former Reverend Lepke. We'll leave it there. So we'll be excited to hear from him soon. So getting to build those relationships is fun outside. But then we actually go into the main meeting. And again, we're unapologetically, we would say if you are not in a state association, get into a state association and grow yourself with your peers.
Yep.
Go find out what's going on greater than you, around you, be involved. The independence can be celebrated, but the gathering together and the strength that comes from that. Even today, I think of Mr. Lepke and I think of what he offered today. I would not have thought to concern myself with his ministry had it not been introduced to me today, and now I'm very interested in it. I'm interested for my children and for the students of the school I get to be a part of and all that sort of things. So again, we're going to we're very pro get involved with your state association of Christian schools. Absolutely. And your state, get your brothers and sisters out there that are Christian principals and talk to them about us and what we're doing.
That's right. Do it.
All right. So in the main meeting, we move. The board dismisses. The table gets moved, and there's some recognitions after the main meeting for those who have pursued accreditation and won, been accepted, including Matt and Faith Baptist School. Well done. But there's Fellowship Christian School that moved to accreditation, and you had moved to accreditation with Faith Baptist School. And I'm forgetting the last one, Frederick Christian. That's right. They had been renewed in their accreditation. How did I forget that when I was on it? That's horrible. That must have happened just after the main meeting, the first meeting in September. Yeah, that's why I wasn't.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, so 3 schools were recognized. There was a recognition of someone who's stepping off the board because he's retiring from his position. They're in Grace Christian and Bowie, Mr. Don Gilson. And there, of course, was a discussion of any kind of new business the association is going through. There was the presentation of a devotion by the president. There was executive director information, a recognition of the Maryland Association of Christian Schools Athletic Commission that had won the spring sports. All that sort of thing occurs, and then we move into a presentation made by this third party. That doesn't always happen, actually.
No, it doesn't always happen.
One of the first times. One of the few times.
We will more often than not have the AACS representative in D.C. would come and update us on legislation. Outside of that, we have not done a lot of it.
That's the AACS Today podcast, right? What's the
I
think it's AACS Today.
I'm just kidding. But no, yes,
the AACS Today podcast. He's there. So we appreciate that, and we love that groupthink.
Yep.
But the best part of these meetings does not occur. We've talked this with them. We're still not sponsored by them. But the best part of these meetings doesn't happen in the formal meetings.
No. It
is the taxpayer funded, not U.S. taxpayer, but but the Maryland Association of Christian School funded pastors and administrators meeting after party. The meeting that happens after the meeting.
The luncheon.
The luncheon at the grill at Quarterfield Station, right? Grill at Quarterfield Station there. I guess that's Glen Burnie, or maybe it's just Quarterfield Station. I don't know, but it's close enough.
I think it's still Glen Burnie.
So we gather around, and Matt eats fish and chips. And I had the nachos this time, which I remember I had several times ago. I realize now like it's too beany for me.
There's a lot of beans.
Yeah, they have a veggie chili that they pour on top, which it's not my favorite. I should have gotten something else, but it just sounded good today. But in any case, I got to sit across from Dr. McKnight.
Oh yeah.
I realized that around me we were surrounded as two Marinasti graduates.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And with commencement just happening recently, our minds are turned to our own college commencement ceremonies and whatnot, and we realized that there was around us something like 10 Jones University degrees.
At least.
So there was 2 from our friend Johnny Rebel, the Wilby principal at Frederick Christian Academy. There was 5 from Dr. McKnight there. Dr. And there was across from Matt was Mr. Shane Burge, and he's got 2 from the Bobs. And then we have a couple. The Mr. Lepke was next to us, and then down the table was Pastor Ramler. Yep. For you Bruins out there, Bruin Nation, you are well represented. Well represented in the Maryland Association of Christian Schools.
Yeah.
And a couple more that I didn't ask about, but I didn't realize that Pastor Don White was also. Yep. But University of Maryland Terrapin turned. The Bruin Nation turned to Terrapin. Yeah. They did a good job recruiting him, apparently.
I guess so.
They were telling stories. It was interesting to hear the stories, because when I was at Bob Jones for 2 years, it was interesting to hear the stories about people that were revered then, but they had as actual professors.
Yeah.
So we tell stories, we swap tales, but there's a lot of the same kind of growth that happens in the vans on the way there.
That's where it happens.
Yeah.
That's where the magic happens.
That's beautiful. That's what that is. That's awesome. So we get to hear from different people, and today On Wen was there from Fellowship Christian. And Un Wen was there from Fellowship Christian. And I believe that's her first time joining a meeting, which is awesome, because prior to that, Sharon Thorne had been there. So great representation there. Steve from Rosedale was there. He's the executive pastor that helps with the school administration. And let's see, I'm going to forget somebody, but Lynn Poor was also there. Yeah, lots of the gathering was strong.
It was. Honestly, I don't remember the last time we've had that many at the.
No, it was great
at the grill. It was awesome.
And we also get to add a couple of the Christian principal, Christian administrators, the Christian Administrator Spotlight shout out list because they were there, and we're
Yep.
going to
Yep.
recognize them for that.
Absolutely.
If you're not involved in your state association, get involved. If you don't got one,
You don't have a moving buddy? Get one. We are children.
Big children. We're also in a long line
Yeah.
for the Bay Bridge.
Getting on the Bay Bridge.
On the Bay Bridge, which we were hoping to avoid this, but then I didn't shut up in time.
Yeah, well, it happened.
Yeah, I'm a yapper. What can I say? I was yapping. But hopefully we get back sometime before 5 p.m. tonight.
We can only hope.
Only hope. That would be wonderful. But until then, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for growing with us. Let's try it again.
Totally messed that up.
But until then, thanks for growing with us today.
Before you go, please be sure to hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, on Spotify, be sure to tap the star icon near the top and select the number of stars you'd like to give us. We'd be so grateful for 5. On Apple Podcasts, scroll down to the ratings and review section and then tap write a review to share your thoughts of the podcast. Thank you.